Hi Year 10s, in this video we're looking at the x-intercepts of parabolas, and just to sort of illustrate what we're talking about here, if that's our x and y coordinates, and if we've got a parabola that looks like that, where it crosses the x-axis here and here, those are our x-intercepts. And we want to know what x values those have. But if you look at where the x-axis is, where it crosses the y-axis, it crosses the y-axis when y equals 0. And so that means that when we're finding the x-intercept, and I'll write this down, so when we find the x-intercept, y is equal to 0. So that means that we just put 0 into the equation instead of y. So let's look at our first question here, and I'll write it out. Y equals x minus 3, x plus 2. And if we're looking for the y-intercept, then we want to make y equal to 0. So I'm going to write 0 there, and then write out the rest of the equation as normal. Now this here is something that you've actually seen before this year. That's something that we call a quadratic equation. And hopefully you'll remember from earlier that with a quadratic equation, because you've got these two brackets timesing to make 0, see they equal 0, then that means that one of the brackets has to equal 0. And so you've got to think, well, what number would I put in there that when you take 3 away, you end up with 0? And that number would be positive 3, because 3 minus 3 is 0. So x equals 3 is one of your x-intercepts. And then over here, what would x have to be to add to 2 to make 0? And x would have to be negative 2, because negative 2 plus 2 is 0. And that's how we get our two x-intercepts. So you can see here that they're just the numbers in the brackets, but with the opposite sign. So it's pretty easy to solve once you've got the idea. So with question B, what we'll do is we'll write out the equation. So negative x minus 4 squared, and we'll just make y equal to 0. So y equals negative x minus 4 squared. And so we've just got to think, well, what would x be to make 0 with negative 4? And so in this case, x would have to be positive 4. And because we've just got squared brackets, we're only going to get one answer here. So that means that this graph would come down and just touch the x-intercept once, not twice. And that would be our only x-intercept. Okay, I'll have a look at these ones in our next video.